What's up, people? I'm Garrett Johnson, and you're listening to Consider Before Consuming, a podcast by Fight the New Drug. Before we jump into today's episode, we want to thank everyone who participated in Rep the Movement Day. Thank you so much. We also want to thank everyone who has participated in No Porn November. Change really does begin with one, and your efforts are making a difference. Okay, the last thing that we want to discuss before jumping into today's episode is the Fighter of the Year award. Each year, we choose a Fighter of the Year based on nominations that are sent to us. Now, for those who might be new to this movement, we refer to our followers as fighters. We have a fighter pledge on our website, and we've linked it to this episode. The fighter pledge is made up of 9 attributes that we strive for as fighters for human connection. And I think it's important to list those 9 attributes as we discuss the Fighter of the Year award. It is what we look for as we consider who will be the Fighter of the Year. And it'll also give some clarity. If you're new to the podcast, it will give some clarity as to what it means to be a fighter. And so I'm going to read directly from the website what those attributes are. It says, as a fighter, I am strong, open-minded, accepting, a true lover, bold, a rebel, real, understanding, and encouraging. And so that's what makes up a fighter. And we are still accepting nominations for the Fighter of the Year award in 2019, and we'll announce the winner in December 2019. So if you know someone who is making a difference in the movement, you can nominate that person at ftnd.org/FOTY. That's ftnd.org/FOTY. During this episode, we were fortunate to record a conversation with Carmel and Lynae. They won the Fighter of the Year award in 2018. Normally, there is just one Fighter of the Year, but in 2018, there were 2 because they kind of came as a package deal, being that they're twins. During our convo, we discuss what they did to earn Fighter of the Year. Their efforts had a significant positive impact on their Wisconsin community. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Consider Before Consuming. We want to welcome to the podcast Lynae and Carmel. And this episode is going to be, it's a very cool episode because they are the Fighters of the Year. They're excited, as you can tell. But first, we should probably tell them where we're recording this episode because it's not just like your common podcast studio. So maybe one of you just tell them where we at. Or at the same time.
We're in the middle of the jungle. We are in Guatemala, specifically Tikal, by the,
Chaz was mispronouncing it, and he said, he's all, welcome to Tickle.
Yeah, we're not there.
We are in Tikal, and Tikal is a national park in Guatemala. And so if you hear like monkeys in the background, that's why. First of all, I don't know how you heard of Fight the New Drug.
Oh, I love the story. Can I tell it?
Yeah, you go.
Okay. So, in summer of 2015, we were just scrolling through. I remember this very clearly. We were scrolling through Facebook, not together, but
we do everything together.
Shared account.
Yeah. No, we have a mutual friend, and he posted a shirt, he posted a picture in his red shirt. That says "Porn Kills Love," and it really caught our attention. We actually came to each other later. We're like, "What? Can he even do that?" And he just talked openly. He was so vulnerable just on Facebook about his struggle, and we ended up kind of looking into Fight the New Drug and reading their articles. And for both of us, we kind of just stayed away from pornography because of our morals and I still like hold on to that, but like Fight the New Drug has taught me that it goes like beyond morals with the science and the facts. So that's what like got us interested. But
so it all started with the red PKL shirt.
yeah, and then I guess like along the way, just meeting people and being in tough relationships that had a third party, pornography, like
present in the relationship.
Yeah, really pushed us like towards Fight the New Drug. Not sometimes it was selfish, like, oh, I want to prove this person wrong, but a lot of times it was like, I want to help this person and I want to know like how I can help. So Fight the New Drug is like a really awesome resource.
It was also kind of interesting because when we saw the Porn Kills Love shirt for the first time, that's when I started asking my peers about it, and I didn't know it was such a huge problem, and I was shocked by so many people that struggled with it, and my heart just went out to them because I just saw such a devastation in their eyes when they talked about it, and I wanted them to believe that there was an opportunity to heal from it and that they weren't part of the problem. They're, like, porn is the problem. Like, you are not a mistake because of this. So,
that's cool. When we created that shirt, the Porn Kills Love shirt, we took all the science and research that we were finding about how it affects individuals in relationships, and we summed it up into 3 words because it affects, pornography can affect 4 areas when it comes to relationships. It can affect what we love, how much we love, how we think about those we love, and how we even express love. Mm-hmm. And there's science and research to back that up. And so when we created that shirt, we just took the 3 simple words, porn kills love, and it's just, for us, it's a statement that is bold, but it's just kind of like a matter of fact. Like the science and research is showing that all forms of pornography disrupt true connection. Mm-hmm. But some people think that shirt can be shaming. Some people who see it, but that's not the intent at all. Kind of like what you said. You said that there's opportunity to heal, mm-hmm. and basically like, that shirt isn't meant to shame. It's kind of meant to say, hey, like, do you want love in your life? Do you want human connection?
Yeah.
Then there's a way to get that, a better, more healthy way.
Yeah.
That's cool. So from seeing that shirt, one thing you mentioned, Carmel, was that you said that you were in tough relationships where there's like the third party pornography was present. Can you talk to that a little bit more? Like,
yeah.
Was it in a dating situation or
kind of like not like a very serious relationship? Is kind of more like the dating process, getting to know that person. And I realized, like, I didn't think it was like such a big like deal at first, but I kind of started to realize it started like people I really cared about, it kind of affected them in like ways they view the world, how they view people. Like, I'm not shaming them at all. Like, it was just sometimes I felt like more of an object than an actual person, but it was really hard. I made the decision like not to date that person, not because like I didn't like they were a problem or anything, but I viewed it as like this is like my personal opinion when it comes to this. If someone's really struggling or having an addiction with pornography and they want a dating relationship, I think they need to get well first, because I believe, like, my personal belief is that like a new relationship might be like gasoline to a fire. I'm not mad at those people at all. Like, I've actually grown a lot, and I like really respect them because those people have like opened up to me. Like, they didn't have to. They really didn't have to, but they did. And I know that like they're doing much better. But it also sucks. It really did. Like, because porn kills love.
I think that a lot of people out there trying to date today, you said they were fortunate because they opened up to you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people aren't talking about this, maybe like they should be. Mm-hmm. Carmel, I'll direct this to you since kind of everyone is talking about this. Are you the type of person that does have a discussion about pornography when you're dating?
In the past, no. Recently, yes, because of how, like, pornography made me feel. Like,
I have something to say about that.
Go for it.
I was also seeing a guy. It wasn't like a serious relationship, but I knew right off the bat there was a serious problem with pornography, and there were just some moments we had together where I just didn't feel treated well. I felt kind of like an object or whatever, and I remember thinking, after I ended that relationship, the next relationship I ever go into, this is going to be one of the first things we talk about, because I refuse to be treated like this, and no one else, guy, gal, should be treated like this either. So the next relationship I went into and I was pretty serious about, I was fortunate enough, not my now fiance, I'd even have to I'd even have to say anything. He just opened his heart, and that just showed, like, you know, guys and girls that struggle with it is just like, it's pretty serious. Like, you need to talk about it. If it's impacted your life a little bit or a lot, you just need to say, hey, this is what junk I've had, and you should be able to know what I've had in my past, because in a relationship, whatever you've had in your past is going to bleed into your future, whatever it was.
100%. You're right.
Absolutely.
I think a lot of people go into a relationship, they're going to show a little bit of baggage, to show a little bit of vulnerability, but it's not true vulnerability. I mean, it's a portion, but there's some of that hiding on the back end because they don't want to discuss fully these challenges. So I think, like, I look up to you two. How old are you two, by the way?
We're 22.
Yeah, so you're 22 years old, and you're kind of setting this standard of, like, this is what I want out of a relationship, and this is what I need out of a relationship. And I think that's so important for dating nowadays because of the world we live in.
Absolutely.
With technology.
And it's the biggest challenge for me too, is like, because it's been such a problem for the majority of guys today, like, how, if this is like genuinely an amazing guy and like I'm feeling led to be in a relationship with him and he has had these issues, like, how am I going to choose to treat him? Am I just going to look at him and be like, oh, you've dealt with it, like, I'm just going to kick you to the curb? Or am I going to see his vulnerability and his ability to, you know, not let this, like, beat him to the ground, and he actually wants to deal with this? And am I going to choose to forgive him if he's choosing to heal, if he's choosing to get out of it?
Yeah.
Like, that's huge too.
One thing I always think about, because of my challenge with pornography, is, like, I'm at such an advantage because I did have to go through that challenge. Because now, like, with my kids, I can talk to them openly. And so I think that's the hopeful side.
Yeah.
Of having this challenge, because, and like, for those who are dating, I'm married, but like those who are still looking,
Yeah.
it can actually be an advantage to date someone who's had a challenge if they're working on themselves and they're healing and they're being honest and vulnerable and putting forth the effort, because then they can have open discussions later on with your kids, if you guys plan to have kids or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think, go ahead, Carmel.
I was just going to say, like, vulnerability is, like, so terrifying. Like, right up there with
really
right up there with public speaking. Like, you don't want people to know your deepest, darkest secrets. But one thing for me, like, even with friends and family, when I was vulnerable, I grew a lot more. Like, I grew so close to that person, and I felt like I grew as an individual. And I don't even feel like I'm the same Carmel I was 6 months ago, because, like, I just learned that vulnerability is a good thing. And then sometimes it's not. Like, sometimes, like, you meet people and it's not always, like, rainbows and butterflies, but I think you just gotta, like, you have to be vulnerable to the people you're closest with and love. And
100%. 100%.
110%.
Seriously, I mean, that's so true. And yeah, that vulnerability has to continue through the relationship.
Yeah. And if there's someone who chooses to be vulnerable with you, that should only make you be more respectful towards them. That's something I learned. A huge lesson I've learned, not only is forgiveness, but is respect. Like, are you going to be kind to this person? Are you going to choose to think the best of them when they're going through the worst? Like, because of who they really are and not this image you've made them to be because they've struggled with this. Like they're a human, they're loved, and they, you know, we all are given love, so it's like we have to show love to each other too.
100%.
And like I said, like those people I've like dated, like I'm not mad at them because they struggled with pornography. I have actually like more respect for them today than the day I met them because they were open about that.
Yeah, that's so true. And I've noticed that when I open up, when I'm vulnerable, it strengthens both parties usually, you know? So that's so important. That's cool. One thing that I do want to be clear about is that when we're talking about addiction, I think sometimes we overuse the word addiction because not everyone who has a challenge with pornography, no matter what the gender is, not everyone who has a challenge with pornography is addicted. But oftentimes it's almost like, I know you've used it and I've used it, but we're not, neither of us are, like, we're not a credible source to diagnose addiction, you know? Yeah. And so I think it's important to realize that. So once you saw, it's kind of backstepping a little bit, once you saw the PKL shirt, what was kind of like the first thing that you guys did, or one of the first things you remember that was like your thing? So you saw the message through the PKL shirt, and now how did you guys start spreading the message? Was it through conversation, or did you guys go buy some merchandise, or what'd you do?
The first thing we did was buy the merchandise right away. We were actually away when we ordered it, and we were like so anxious to come back and get it. So when we came back right away, we threw on those shirts, and we both made Instagram posts just about our passion to share it. And we just didn't like throw our thoughts about it right away. We really tried to educate ourselves. Like we saw the post, read a bunch of blogs and resources and just everything, just articles, just looking at this. And after collecting all the information, it just kind of hit me like, holy cow. Like the people that know me need to know this, because I care about this too much to be silent about it. So we both threw on those shirts and we made Instagram posts.
That's cool.
I remember just clearly stating, like what I was talking about earlier, is that there is a chance for healing. And if you, and kind of like we were talking about before, just vulnerability, if you just open up about this, just the hardest step, the first step, opening up, being vulnerable, like there's just healing in that too.
For sure. It's like, that we talked a little bit about that vulnerability. And once you start talking to someone, it strengthens you and it strengthens the person you're talking to. So did you, well, first of all, Carmel, do you remember what your post said?
I think I waited until Valentine's Day because my favorite color is red. So I was really excited about the shirt, and I waited until Valentine's Day. And I'm sure I said some other stuff, but I remember saying, make sure you're loving the right person today. Like whether it's your mom, your dad, your boyfriend, or your girlfriend.
Cool. It's just about human connection.
It's like more than just like the physical.
Exactly.
Like people say, like sometimes we say love and our mind can go to like cheese curds or sex or like it goes so many places, or puppies, but like
that's
I
so
think
true.
like
chocolate, coffee.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, both of those. I would say like intimacy is just so much more than the physical.
Well, I think this term is misunderstood because just as an example, like with my wife. So like my wife, I can like reach over and like grab her elbow or like tickle her back. I can't do that to a stranger.
No.
Can you imagine?
You could try.
I could try.
You might get in trouble.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's like that is one level of an intimate relationship. With my buddy, I can give him a hug, you know, and I can do that with a dude. And coming from a heterosexual male, it's like, that's intimate, right? Yeah. So once you guys posted, stepping back again, we keep getting sidetracked. Once you guys posted, I want to hear a little bit about like some haters and also some people that reached out and be like, dude, I love what you're doing.
Yeah. I think I just kind of expected that I would still be received really well. And when I saw the just the amount of I don't even think it's that big of an amount. Honestly, I got so much love and support, but just probably reading the comment section on those posts and those articles and everything was one of the stupidest things I've ever done. It was so stupid.
Can you explain what it was that set up that skepticism?
Absolutely. So I think Carmel's better at telling the story, so I'm going to let her go ham at this.
There's like so many details to this story, but I'll give you the shortened version. But so a college in our community.
Where are you guys from, by the way?
Wisconsin.
Oh,
We
okay.
are from Wisconsin.
Go Packers!
Yes.
They're wearing cheesehead hats right now. Just joking.
So hey, that was between us. But yeah, so a school in our community. I guess I don't remember his official spot or job. I think the president of that school brought in a porn star to talk about like sex education, and I wasn't present in that talk, but I won't act like I know everything, but I know enough that I don't think the way it happened and what she was talking about was very smart. It was very secret. In my opinion, they paid her too much, and like I'm open about like having freedom of speech, but it just seemed wrong. Like it didn't seem like the porn star saw the connection between sex trafficking and pornography.
You said they did see the connection, or did not?
It didn't.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, they didn't. Yeah, but so our community, like the newspaper put out something, and our community got really mad. And Lynae and I, we stepped out, and we're like, we got our friends together, and I said, we're gonna wear our T-shirts. I'm gonna make this Facebook post, and we're going to share it, and we're going to try to fight the new drug.
So this was after she had come to campus?
Like a week after. And then, do you want to share the rest?
Yeah, I think another frustrating aspect of the story is that we had an organization on campus that asked for money for the school, just super small amount, like way, 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 way less than they paid for this porn star to come to fight the new drug, and the school rejected our
donation
campus
or
club.
request.
Yeah, and it was so small, and we guaranteed way more people, at least 300 plus people, and only 70 people showed up to this event.
So it's almost like you felt like, you're for freedom of speech, and they're bringing in this porn star, but then they wouldn't provide funds to talk about the unhealthy side of.
And I'm open for both sides of the story and the subject to be exposed, but I just felt like in this case, because people maybe might look at it and think that, this is just old news and it's wrong without looking at the facts or whatever, would just say, no, let's throw it to the side. So our community was really frustrated, and the club on campus was just really hurt. They're like, what? Like, we tried to get fight here, and there were no funds given, and it was...
So what happened? A week later, you posted in your shirts kind of talking about the harmful effects of pornography?
What ended up happening is, I went through, when people ask about my merchandise, I always talk about how porn affects our brain, our heart, and the society as a whole. So that's what I talked about in my post, and at the end, I asked people to share it. And, I mean, we didn't go viral or anything, but it got pretty big in our, community, and a lot of people liked and shared it because we wanted to get attention on social media for the school to bring in fight. And
you were kind of helping change the conversation.
Yeah, and what ended up happening was through people talking to the president of the school and through lots of social media attention, they ended up bringing Fight the New Drug, and dude, that was such an exciting day.
Oh my word, we were driving to school, and
we were driving to a coffee shop.
Oh, to a coffee.
Of course.
What else would we
Either
do?
getting educated or getting caffeinated.
Absolutely.
One of the two.
We don't even go to the school, but it's just part of there's a couple colleges in our community, and we really care about all of the campuses. So it was an email from the president sent out to that campus, and someone took a screenshot of it and sent it to us right away. We lost it. We were screaming, jumping around, Fight the New Drug is coming here. We couldn't believe it. It just kind of went.
That gave me the chills just barely. That's so cool.
Yeah. It was just kind of going back to that question, like from that Facebook post, after like we did receive, like we got a little bit of hate on that Facebook
lots
post.
Of support.
Yeah, lots of support, a little bit of hate, but when Fight the New Drug like officially decided to come, that's when like it was overwhelming, where I had to turn off my notifications on Facebook because people I didn't even know were commenting, not just like oh, you're so dumb. It was like really inappropriate stuff,
explicit.
Like very explicit, like, and like part of me just wanted to be like, cool. Come out and say it to my face, like.
For sure.
But I really questioned myself a lot. I was like, I got really like.
You're like, shoot, should I have done this?
Yeah, should I have done this? I kind of like, I'm going to be vulnerable. I got depressed. Like, I was should I like just delete all of my social media and hide? But like.
You know what's interesting is, do you by chance, I'm on the spot here, so, well, it's very possible you don't know, but does the name Brene Brown ring a bell? No?
No.
So Brene Brown is very well known right now for talking about vulnerability. And one of the things that she talks about is a vulnerability hangover. That's what she calls it, because it's not fun. Like you were saying, like you wanted to delete your social media platforms, and that's part of being vulnerable, is that vulnerability hangover. Anyway, keep going.
No, yeah. But what made it worth it was just remembering the truth and like why we did this. We didn't do this to shame anyone. We didn't do this because we were like angry at anyone. We just thought like our community deserves to know like the truth, and there is like freedom of speech. Like that porn star got her freedom of speech and we won ours.
Yeah. And it's interesting to me that, oh, you're good. What were you going to say?
I was going to say like that vulnerability hangover like really sucked, but like I was also happy because I knew Fight was coming. But what really, I don't want to jump ahead of ourselves, but really like was a game changer is when Fight the New Drug contacted us and said, hey, you're the Fighters of the Year. And not only that, you want a trip to Guatemala.
Yeah.
We're like, nah, like, is this happening? Like,
that's cool. Where were you guys at when you guys found out you were Fighters of the Year?
Okay, so Fight the New Drug kept contacting me, and I was at work, and I work with kids, and when you work with kids, the only moment you get alone is if you really have to pee. So I just remember talking to my boss, and I was like, can I go in your office for like 5 minutes? I almost didn't watch it. It was a live video. And there's a kid on the computer. I don't know why he's in there. I just remember him being in there. And I go in there and I watch the video and I start crying. And he looks over at me. He's like, what happened? And I'm like, I'm going to Guatemala. And I was just so happy. And I want people to know why I'm so happy that I got Fighter of the Year wasn't the attention. Like, oh, I deserved all this good attention because I did this. Mm-hmm. It just kind of came to this moment. It's like Fighters of the Year meant that you really fought. And sometimes it's really good to, you have to acknowledge those people that are fighting. And I'm not saying, oh, you should come acknowledge Carmel and I for all this stuff. But it just kind of let my heart know. It's like, Lynae, you've been fighting and you need to keep fighting. It doesn't stop once you get Fighter of the Year. It's just like, okay, you're a fighter and you need to keep fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Well, I was in the Walmart parking lot.
Nice. This episode is brought to you by Walmart.
Yeah, thanks, Walmart. I can't remember why I was buying it. I don't even think I went in the store. I think I just left, but I was so excited. But I watched the video. Yeah, I didn't even go in. I watched the video, and I was, like, jumping up and down in my car. I was, like, so happy, like, screaming and a little bit of tears. And the first thing I did, I called my mom. And I said, she picked up the phone, and she's like, hi. And I'm like, Mom, I'm going to Guatemala. And she's like,
I thought you were going to Walmart.
Yeah, seriously. She's like, you need to back up. What? And I told her everything. And I'm definitely on the same page as Lynae. Like, this, like, is such an opportunity. And, like, being Fighter of the Year was really, like, it was really hard. Like, I love people, and I just hate not being on their side. Like, I always want to see, like, the benefit of the doubt in them. I always want to give compassion because, like, Fight the New Drug is all about compassion.
Yeah.
No matter what belief, what political stance, what religion, like.
Another thing was, like, we aren't creating ammunition to go at you and make you feel bad about what you believe. We simply want you to make you feel received and that you understand the information that we are giving to you.
Yeah. And I think one part about being a fighter for true human connection and a fighter to end sexual exploitation is talking about the harmful effects of pornography, but also kind of helping people understand and see and consider a life free of pornography and its influence. Because once you're free of it, in my experience, it's so much better. But it's challenging to get away from it sometimes.
I see, even in the relationships I've been with, guys who did struggle with pornography and guys that didn't, I just saw a huge difference in how they treated me. And even in those relationships with guys that struggled with pornography, and, you know, not any relationship is perfect, I believe that I deserve to be treated a certain way. Or
100%. I want to give you a standing ovation.
It's so true, though. Or even, I would say, my peers, when I saw them just go through this process of healing from it and fighting to be free from it, I saw so much more joy. Like, it wasn't like, oh, I'm happier because, you know, I got more money or whatever, like my job's doing really well. It's just like, I simply just, and well, it's not simple. Like, I just let go of this aspect in life, and I'm finding more joy in things instead of trying to fulfill this through pornography. And what pornography does, it's you think it's fulfilling that need for joy, but it's digging a deeper hole, and you're not putting anything in it.
Yeah, I mean, it perpetuates false expectations for both genders. And so, yeah, we want people to consider life free from pornography. But jumping back, I also wanted to say that I think it's interesting that your college brought in a porn star to talk about sex. And the reason why is because, like, much of pornography is not what real sex looks like.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of bizarre. It's almost like bringing in, and I know because much of pornography, there's lots of science and research showing that it's exaggerated. So one of the examples that I like to give is it's like, that would be like bringing in someone from the WWE, like some wrestler, to talk about communication. It's like,
it's not a good idea, bro.
I almost thought of it as like, it's like teaching kids what, a good relationship is like through Hollywood movies.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you can't have that expectation because life isn't going to be perfect. You're not always going to get your way, or it's not always going to feel like this. So, yeah, like what you said, the WWE talking about communication, people would just look at that and be like, what?
And it's interesting that the college gave funds to bring in a porn star to talk about sex.
And it was so frustrating for our community, which, okay, quick shout out. We couldn't have done this without our community. Like, I think
crew.
Yeah, to crew.
Thanks, crew.
We love you, crew. But it was true though. Like, it was just heartbreaking for us because, like, we have something, and we'll just, even if people from our community didn't come, if it was just people from crew, we already had promised 300 people, and we asked for such a little amount of money, and it was like, you had 70 people show up to this event, and you paid thousands of dollars for this girl to come, and it just broke our hearts, and we're like, we want these people to hear
the other side.
Yeah, hear the other side, and it was hard, it was frustrating. And it wasn't like we wanted to come at these people and, punch their throats or whatever and be like, you're so wrong for doing this. It's kind of like that kid in the back of the classroom just raising their hand saying, can I say something? No.
Yeah,
just like, what the heck? Like, why? Like, why can't that person speak
freedom
up?
of speech.
Yeah.
That's cool. One thing that I like that you said, Lynae, just barely, is there was a community behind you.
Yeah, I think people might look at us, and I don't want them to believe that Carmel and I did this by ourselves. Like, we had people come up to us and like, oh, we gotta sign a petition. Let's get people to sign this. We got 200 signatures. We had people buying the Porn Kills Love shirt. Like, when Fight came to La Crosse, that was the craziest amount of people I've ever seen wearing the Porn Kills Love shirt. It was cool. Everywhere. It blew my mind. I was like, whoa, what is this?
This is changing the conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, one of our goals at Fight the New Drug, is change the conversation. And you guys helped do that. And I love that you acknowledge the support you had, because I think we all play different roles in this movement for love. It's interesting too how much duration of time you guys were fighting before you kind of got recognized
Yeah.
for good efforts. It took years of and you guys were very level-headed about it. You'd throw a post out every once in a while, and then it progressed to the point where you helped bring in a Fight the New Drug presentation in your college.
Yeah.
I mean, that's cool. It's
there
a cool
were other
progression.
things too, like in Nowhere, Iowa, we went to a presentation and we're like, dude, we got to get this to Wisconsin. Or even just simple opportunities like having a speech class in your college.
Yeah.
I would say there were, just in the course of like 2 years at that college we're at now, there have been maybe like 5 people who have talked about this topic and has used
In speech class.
Yeah, in speech class. And one of that,
like they would get up and they have an assignment to discuss something and they choose to talk about the harmful effects of pornography.
One of them was our younger sister. One of them was a really good friend of ours. And that takes guts, even though like it might be a classroom of 10 people. Like for me, public speaking is so freaking scary.
And sometimes
I love it.
But you're getting up there and you're like, I don't know how people are going to receive this. And the way they did receive it was shocking, because I expected that I would get a lot of disagreement. But the majority of the feedback I got was, I had no idea. I had no idea. People don't even know the statistics that are huge. It's huge. It's critical to know these things. Sorry, I'm talking too much.
No, you're good. That's so true. That's so true. Fast forward to today, and you're here in Guatemala, and today's Monday, so we've been here for, 5 days or so, right? 5 or 6 days. They're blending together a little bit. Have you learned anything on this trip as you've been here in Guatemala? Because one of our goals, by the way, for our listeners, one of our goals is to globalize this movement for love and for human connection. And so we're in Guatemala, and we're going to be certifying a presenter here locally tomorrow in a presentation, so that when we leave, this individual can continue to give live presentations here in this country in his native tongue. So that's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. I can honestly say that I love our team members on this trip. It's very cool.
And it's a different setting because like we're on long bus rides and just sit next to someone you don't know and be like, so how did you hear about Fight the New Drug?
Yeah.
And then before you know it, you're having like a really deep 2-hour conversation, and you're in a different setting. You're not used to where you are, but like for some reason this atmosphere, you're like, hi, I'm Carmel, and this is everything about me.
For sure. That's really cool. Something
I learned is, for me personally, I struggled with this mindset that, I can love everyone, but the people I can connect with the most are people that I kind of create in my head. Like, they have to be coffee drinkers or whatever.
Oh, like you're like setting expectations for...
I get along with these people the most or whatever.
I think we all do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And just coming here, it's just showing me how to respect and love and connect with people more.
Yeah.
Despite where they have been in their past.
Yeah, we have people on the trip with us from Guatemala. We have people from Chile. We have people from Canada, all over the United States.
Yeah.
And we've come together to learn and grow and hang out.
Just coming here, just even the people of this culture, it's just showing, like, dude, you're loved. Like, I can show you that compassion too. Mm-hmm. And even with my teammates, like, I can easily say, like, I've never connected with people this fast. And even you told me the other day, Garrett, you just simply said, you gave me like this watermelon drink. You're like, remember, we're family. And that like burned in my head all day, like, holy cow, we're family. And we're family, not because obviously like
not blood.
Yeah, not by blood or anything, but it's just like,
that'd be weird to find out.
Like we know some really crappy stuff about each other and some really awesome stuff about each other, but we're still going to choose to love and respect each other.
For sure.
And I want like that mindset has been expanded for me to show to people maybe I don't even know. Maybe I'm going to run into someone who's just, oh my gosh, you've done all this bad stuff. Oh, you struggle with pornography. And just get rid of that crap.
I like that. Get rid of that crap. Yeah. The reason why I like that phrase, one of the reasons why I like that phrase is because I actually don't really like the word. I kind of like to remove the word bad. because I like to replace that word with unhealthy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because oftentimes bad is like kind of shaming. Some people might take it as
Yeah.
shaming, but it's like unhealthy. You're making unhealthy decisions that are affecting you,
Yeah.
your relationships, your future relationships, and society. And then going back to the watermelon drink, how you said that I brought you the watermelon drink. I think an important aspect to realize is that you asked for that watermelon drink.
Good job, Lynae.
The reason why I say that's
Yeah.
important is because like that's relates back to this topic. Is like if you need help,
Yeah.
we don't want to ask for help nowadays, right?
Yeah.
Was it challenging? This is kind of a weird, stupid question, but like, was it weird to ask for that watermelon drink?
Yeah.
Did it feel
because-
weird?
Yeah, because in my mind, it's like if I ask someone for anything, if it's a watermelon drink or like, can I sit down or whatever, it's just, you're still afraid of
You don't want to
rejection.
step on. Yeah, you
or
don't want to step on toes.
Yeah.
You don't want
to. And I think
It relates to this
yeah.
topic though, because
oh my gosh, this is so true.
it's weird because it's like you gotta ask for help, and then people are gonna help you once you ask for help, and that's what we encourage our listeners to do is like reach out and ask someone for a watermelon drink. I'm just joking. No, reach out and ask for
You're
help.
really good.
Reach out and ask for help because it helps that, once again, going back like full circle here, that vulnerability strengthens both parties,
Yeah. And it just kind of pops into my mind, like, challenge your community to ask for help too, or be that person in your community that asks for help. That's what Carmel and I had to do. If we didn't have support from our community, just to be like, help, share this
Yeah.
post, or just sign this petition, or show
It
up
takes
to
a
this.
village.
Yeah, seriously, like we wouldn't be here.
What were you going to say, Carmel?
Oh, I was gonna just say like right away a quote that my dad always says popped in my mind, and he said, "I looked for a friend and I found none. I became a friend and I found many." And
Ooh, I like that.
I like that too. My dad's been telling me that for a very long
That's such
time.
a good quote.
It's just
I'm
like
going to steal that and
No,
use that
take
a
it.
lot.
Everyone who's listening, take it. Because like sometimes we can just sit here and expect the world to like just hand us stuff or like expect people to do stuff for us, but I think what you want, like, give it.
Yeah.
Like, and like if you want help,
A watermelon
ask
drink.
ask for it, and then also give help.
For sure.
Yeah, ask for a watermelon drink. Give watermelon
For
drinks.
sure. I love that metaphor now. That's awesome. Well, you guys, we have so many fighters around the world who are doing their part, and we are so grateful for each fighter that's starting conversations, for helping each other, for helping themselves, and for asking for help and giving help. It's so cool. And you two are no exception. Like, we are so grateful for your efforts. We freaking love you guys.
Aw, freaking love you guys too. Yeah,
You
Fight
guys-
the New Drug is awesome.
You guys are awesome. Thanks so much for joining us on today's episode.
Yeah, thank you.
We truly want to thank you for your listening ear. About a year ago, the CEO and executive director of Fight the New Drug, they reached out to me with a proposal to help develop a podcast. The very first thing that I said after hearing about the opportunity to help develop a podcast was that I'm down, I'm in, but please know that it could require a slow start. And what I meant by that was that I've never podcasted before, I've never edited audio, I've never done anything associated with podcasting. And so this was a first for me, and it was a first for Fight the New Drug. Now we've published 11 episodes, and we have many more to come, but we will be taking a break for 4 weeks. Our next episode will publish on January 1st, 2020. But we want to thank you for your listening ear and your support. As we began developing this podcast, we went back and forth on names, but landed on Consider Before Consuming. And the reason why we chose that name is because it embodies what our goal is. We simply invite you, the listener, to consider the science, facts, and personal accounts and come to your own conclusion. If you've listened to several episodes, I'm sure that you've experienced some cognitive dissonance, but that's part of the learning process and that's part of a consideration. And so we want to thank you for your continued effort to consider before consuming. As we take a break for the next 4 weeks, we invite you to give us your friendly feedback and or friendly skepticism. If you have any feedback about the podcast, please send us an email to podcast@fightthenewdrug.org. That's podcast@fightthenewdrug.org. You can send us questions, suggestions, what you want to hear more of, and anything else that is friendly. Well, we'll take it and consider it, and your feedback is valuable and appreciated. So one last time, we thank you for joining us on this episode of Consider Before Consuming. Consider Before Consuming is brought to you by Fight the New Drug. Fight the New Drug is a non-religious and non-legislative organization that exists to provide individuals the opportunity to make an informed decision regarding pornography by raising awareness on its harmful effects, using only science, facts, and personal accounts. Fight the New Drug is a registered 501c3. If you want to support this podcast, you can do so by going to fightthenewdrug.org/donate or by texting CONSIDER to 43506. Until next time.